Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. At AM 630. WMAL.
7:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. We are largely talking about the derecho. That's that term for this unusual storm that slammed into the area.
Some of us are whining.
On Friday night. And it now looks that for some people in the area, they will not have their power returned, well, in some places, until the weekend. Pepco seems to think they'll get most of it up by Thursday or Friday. We're going to hear for a moment from Ken Barker from Dominion Power. Actually, he's on the line right now. See how things are looking in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Ken, how are you, and how is the recovery coming?
Well, we're making progress. Thanks for having me this morning. We've restored about two-thirds of the power to Northern Virginia, but a lot of work left to do. As we get closer and closer back into these subdivisions, more and more of a rebuild, catastrophic damage back there. We're bringing in poles and wires and in a lot of cases having to rebuild the system back in these neighborhoods.
So, Ken, my understanding is that Northern Virginia was one of the hardest hit areas, possibly hit harder by the storm than many parts of Maryland, D.C., etc. But you guys seem to be making very good progress. Can you tell us why? And maybe it's just that those of us in Montgomery County are jealous, but tell us why it seems to be going better over there.
Well, all I can point to is the dedicated men and women we have out. They're the real heroes doing the work out in the field. I'm here in one of the local offices now, and we've got 4,200 crews out in these offices, and I know our customers are suffering, and we get that. But these folks restoring power, again, they're heroes in my eyes as well.
All right, so look, we understand that this wasn't like a hurricane, because with a hurricane you see it coming for days. You start to move in resources and crews a little bit early. We know this one was a little different because it came on so rapidly. We understand that normally the places you would turn for relief crews aren't able to send the crews because they've got their own issues, places like Ohio, Indiana. But are there other things about this particular storm that make it more complex than other storms you've had to deal with?
Well, you articulated it very well. No pre-planning, widespread event. We can't get a lot of resources from other utilities that normally help us. But the other aspect of this storm is just the massive rebuild. It's not a hurricane, but there is catastrophic damage like a hurricane. So no pre-planning. Going in, rebuilding like it was a hurricane is really the worst perfect storm for us to deal with. But, it's all about our customers. End of the day, these customers don't have power, and we're working around the clock, 16, 20 hours a day to get them back. And hopefully customers will see more and more progress back into these subdivisions over the next few days.
Hey, Ken, let me ask your opinion on something. Where do you guys come down on undergrounding some of these power lines versus the above-ground lines?
Well, about a third of our system is underground, but what you got to remember is just because it's underground, it's coming up overhead somewhere. And, customers will call me, well, my subdivision's undergrounded, I still don't have power. We've still got, many miles of overhead feeding a lot of these subdivisions, and the crews are out there restoring that power now. So underground, there is some benefits, but when the underground goes out, it's a lot harder to fix than the overhead facilities.
All right, so give me your latest numbers and then bottom line it for me.
Okay, bottom line, we have a little over 150,000 customers out. Two-thirds have been restored. The heavy work is ahead of us this week in the subdivisions. It's going to be the weekend before the very last customer comes.
So like the other utility companies, you won't see, what are you talking, 95% or everybody back by the weekend?
65% today. Tomorrow we'll have about 85%. On Thursday we'll have 90 to 95%, and then Saturday the vast majority will be on. And
your biggest need at the moment is, are you getting the crews you need from out of state?
Yes, sir, we are.
Where are they coming from?
All over the East Coast. We've got them from Florida, out toward Kansas, up in New England, Canada. I mean, these crews left literally Saturday morning. Some of them are just getting here today. So we've got a cavalry here. We've got more of the cavalry coming.
What do you say to people who think that it's no matter how hard you try, and I grant you, I know you're trying, but there are these people who say, really, the response is just not enough. That maybe what we need to do is put more money into infrastructure so that this doesn't happen quite as often, that it doesn't take as long to get up. And I mean, I know they're frustrated, and I know they're really angry because it's hard to be in 95 and 100-degree heat with no power. But what do you say to those people who just don't think enough is being done?
I think that's the bottom line question. And as an executive for the company, I would say I get it. I understand your frustration. I think at this point, all we can say is we're doing everything humanly possible to get your individual power on. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to that individual, not percentages at the system number. And facilities are vulnerable to catastrophic weather, 90-mile-an-hour winds. So is there some magic solution out there? We sure haven't found it, but we're doing everything we can to minimize the impact of Mother Nature.
All right. Well, Ken Barker, Godspeed. Good luck.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us here on WMAL. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.